and welcome back to the Pain Pod. Today I am joined with Dr. Brian Hom, one of APC's newest physicians. Dr. Hom, would you kick us off and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, thanks for having me. My name is Brian Hom. I was born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio. I did all my medical training in Ohio, so Indiana's new to me. I did my medical school training at the public university, like public medical school of Northeast Ohio. It's called Northeast Ohio Medical University. I did like a 6-year program, so I basically did like an accelerated program, and I then went into anesthesiology residency at University Hospitals Case Western Reserve in Cleveland, Ohio. And after 4 years of that, I did my interventional pain fellowship at the University of Cincinnati.
Amazing. So tell us a little bit about your shoes that you're wearing today.
These are some limited edition Crocs.
Okay.
All my patients tend to ask me about them.
So you're a shoe guy.
Yeah, I have lots of shoes. I'm a big believer in having diverse shoes.
And what else do you do in your free time when you are not at APC?
I do a lot of things in my free time, which includes lots of sports, lots of online shopping, lots of eating and sleeping. I just picked up a piano, so I'm trying to play again.
Wow.
Yeah, I just bought a new bicycle. I'm always looking for new hobbies. I think I have like ADHD when it comes to hobbies. I don't really stick to one. I just keep finding new ones.
Love to hear it. So tell us a little bit about your lunch today.
Well, today, nothing. I was seeing patients all day, so I guess you could say I ate my notes for lunch.
Gotcha. Busy man over here. So with your time being at APC so far, tell us a little bit about your experience in treating patients in Indiana.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed my time here at APC so far. I've definitely learned a lot and grown a lot as a physician, not only through the complex patients I've seen, but also through the support I've gotten through my colleagues and learning from them and how they do things. We have a lot of diverse skill sets in our practice and a lot of experts in like many advanced interventional therapies here. So it's been an honor to be with the group.
And so you are now leading our Kokomo location. Can you tell me a little bit about the things that you've experienced in the Kokomo community?
Yeah, Kokomo has been a great opportunity. I've seen like lots of things that you see every day, but I've also seen a lot of really interesting complex patients that even throughout my training at really prestigious like institutions or like academic institutions I've never seen. So it's been humbling. It's been great to serve those people. They're really hard workers up there. So I'm very happy to have that opportunity.
Awesome. Well, I do want to dive into mental resilience. So can you tell me a little bit about that and what that means to you?
Yeah, I kind of came up with this topic because one, I could talk about like things like medicine and like pain procedures and whatnot, but I talk about those things to my patients like all day, every day. And, mental resilience and the mental component of pain is something that I, as a physician, we're not like traditionally trained on per se. And, we often defer to like psychologists and stuff, but it's a huge part of it. And I wish, I had more time to talk with patients about that aspect or dive into that aspect. But I felt like this podcast might give me an opportunity maybe to reach out to those patients about what that means and how does that impact people's pain. Was inspired to do this topic because I really love sports, and I feel that when I think about like people who I looked up to like growing up, besides my parents and stuff, I think about like elite athletes and stuff that I enjoyed watching, and I've always wondered like, are athletes like, are they born or are they raised? Some people would argue like they're both, but I would say any elite athlete, there's a component of them where they're like they're developed. And one of the strengths of every single elite athlete is the component of resilience. Like what it means basically is the capacity or ability to like recover or adapt from difficult times is what the word resilience means. And there's different types. There's like physical resilience, emotional, social resilience, mental resilience. Physical resilience is like how the body deals with change and how it recovers from like illness or physical stress or injury. You can improve those things sometimes by like eating healthy or exercising and whatnot. Mental resilience is the ability to adapt to change or uncertainty during times of crisis or, well, mental crisis per se, or pain. And then like emotional resilience is also an important role in pain, because it allows you to, it's your ability to basically regulate your emotions in times of stress, the ability to like calm your mind, manage emotions when dealing with negative experiences. Basically, understanding that like adversity and difficult emotions don't have to be a permanent thing that happens like all the time. And then lastly, there's like also social resilience, which is like the ability for groups of people to recover from something, like for example, a natural disaster or something, like how more like a tragic event in a.
Sure. I'm sure with your patients, you've probably experienced or had patients that have experienced all four of those types of mental resilience. Do you want to tell me a little bit about it?
So I would say like every person undergoes stress in their life at some point, which requires resiliency. Somebody who classically has like widespread pain, who has been to like multiple pain physicians and has multiple like opinions from physicians, and then they come to me, and at that point they tried a lot of things, and it's like they feel hopeless and whatnot, because they're in pain all the time. They don't have a sense of maybe purpose, or they feel like they're suffering all the time. Sending them to one of our resources, Dr. Gleckman, who's a pain psychologist, who basically talked to the patient in depth and basically helped the patient understand more about themselves. And then they came back to me and they were saying that their pain was a lot more improved, their outlook on life improved, that kind of thing. That would be one case I would say would be one.
I think so many times patients just need somebody to kind of validate their feelings. We had Dr. Montero on a couple of episodes ago, and she had mentioned that sometimes patients just need somebody to say, "You're not crazy. I understand what you're going through," and it's a very common problem that I think we see in pain management, but not one that is talked about enough.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the biggest challenges as a pain physician that I face is that, when I see a patient, I see them in just a single snapshot, like a quick 15-minute snapshot in their life. I can only imagine like what they've been through in their life, and they're trying to summarize it to me in that quick encounter. And I think a lot of patients feel that it's hard basically because there is a physical component and there's a mental component to pain. It's very easy to think everything is physical. It's very undertreated, like the mental component of it. One of the biggest challenges that I face as an interventional pain physician is teasing out like, okay, how much of this pain is physical and what can we do about that part? But in terms of the other components that contribute to pain negatively, what can we do about those and whatnot?
And so you mentioned Dr. Gleckman as being a resource, which is one of our psychologists on staff, but what other resources would you recommend to patients that maybe are facing a little bit of that situation?
Yeah, definitely there's a lot of like resources out there that talk about resiliency or mental health, like how to overcome a lot of these challenges like mentally and stuff with pain. There's actually like several key personality traits that I would say like lead to resilience, and something that I've observed like anecdotally. Some of those like traits though, like, and some of those traits include like optimism, having a purpose in life, and pain, like accepting the pain. And that's to say, like, I don't want somebody to listen to this podcast and then falsely be optimistic or like falsely develop a purpose in life. I'm sure there's a lot out there that people might find relatable. So some of the key personality traits, honestly, I thought was really interesting that I had to do some research on, or like optimism was one, purpose in life, pain acceptance. Optimism plays a huge role in like coping with pain by people who are more optimistic with chronic pain tend to have increased like decreased unhealthy behaviors like smoking and whatnot, or like just like living a sedentary lifestyle, which leads to better physical functioning. Higher levels of optimism in studies, like in patients with like rheumatoid arthritis, have been shown to be associated with lower rates of pain intensity in depressive stages. So I thought that was really interesting. Another key personality trait that I read about in literature was that having like a purpose in life. Having a purpose in life basically is like a construct that refers to the extent to which individuals understand the purpose and direction of their current or past lives and having goals and whatnot, and demonstrating a higher level of intention to pursuing their goals. In a study where like they basically induced pain in people, and they took people who believed that they had purpose and people who believed they had less purpose or did not have purpose per se. So I thought that was kind of interesting that those people who had a purpose felt like objectively had higher pain scores. And they also discovered that there was also a research study done that showed like people who had a higher purpose and life score basically recovered faster from surgeries, like knee surgery and whatnot. So it's kind of interesting to see like, hey, maybe the psyche does play a role in pain significantly, and we definitely underestimate that. And then that third concept of personality trait is pain acceptance, basically the willingness to experience pain and its cognitive and emotional consequences as a means to fostering a greater sense of engagement and well-being and whatnot. But why is that important? Because people who have chronic pain may often be thinking about their pain all the time. So some people who are more accepting of their pain, they have more like freed up cognitive space to focus on things that they can control, as well as instead of worrying about the pain itself and focusing on it, they can focus on things that they care about, like and they enjoy, like maybe their family or spending time with their kids or whatnot. And there's studies that show that like higher pain acceptance scores have been associated with lower levels of pain catastrophizing. And what that means is basically like the idea that you just think of the worst all the time of your pain. Also better cognitive, emotional, and social functioning as well.
And so patients that maybe are seeing you that might be experiencing that, are the psychologists that we have on staff available to every patient?
Yeah, I mean, so definitely, usually if I'm concerned that I think that there's a big role of it impacting somebody's pain, and I think that they might benefit from it, and then they can kind of spend more time, often more times than I have in an encounter, to kind of dive deep into those parts of like the person, basically the patient. Yeah.
And is there anything else that you would want the viewers of this podcast to know about mental resilience, or about coming to see you if they are experiencing pain or any other challenges?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of any, like, you mean any, say that again, sorry.
Anything that you would want the viewers to
No.
know that maybe we
Yeah.
haven't gotten to yet?
I think patients should, instead of like looking at their vulnerabilities, like think about their strengths and think about how they can foster like their own improved outcomes in pain. I mean, there's only so much as a provider that I can do. Some of it really relies on the patient themselves to be motivated to get better. Be open-minded to having like adaptive like coping strategy, like to other resources out there. I know oftentimes patients may be hesitant to see a pain psychologist or go to physical therapy. They might be very comfortable with the medications or whatnot. But just being open-minded, because ultimately our goal here at APC is to give you a better quality of life. And if we recommend something, it's because we think it might help you. We want to use all the tools we can at our disposal, which we have a lot here at APC, to help you. So it's been nice being a part of this practice, because honestly it's a luxury. I would say most pain practices don't have a pain psychologist on board on staff. So it's been a resource I've been tapping into a lot with a lot of my patients.
Well, it's been great hearing your take on mental resilience. But before we go today, we wanted to introduce a new segment, Getting to Know Our Physicians. So we've got some questions from both some employees and some patients. First things first, we need to know what your favorite candy is.
I would say my favorite candy is Kit Kat bars.
Kit Kat bars. So you're going on a long road trip, stopping at a gas station before you get on the road. Are you always picking out a Kit Kat, or do you have different gas station snacks?
I really don't eat food from the gas station.
Okay, that makes sense for you. Okay,
I actually don't eat and drive. I think it's unsafe. It's unsafe.
More people should think like that.
But I do always have coffee, I would say. Coffee's my go-to,
What is
maybe.
your go-to coffee order?
My go-to coffee order is probably a caramel macchiato.
From Starbucks or
I like to try new places, but Starbucks is very good at their consistency, so
I agree with that
and it's
wholeheartedly.
accessible.
And in Indianapolis, since you're kind of new to the area, what has been your favorite place, whether that's restaurant or activity? What's been your favorite so far?
I would say restaurant-wise, there's been a lot of good ones. Honestly, you told me about one of them, Bodhi. I did go there. It was really good. It's very, very trendy environment. So I do like all types of food. I like to mix it up. So I try to try a new restaurant whenever I can.
Anything in Indianapolis particularly that you are looking forward to trying?
Food-wise,
Anything.
oh, trying. Well, I didn't get to go to the Indianapolis 500 this year because of the weather. I would love to experience that. I would love to drive a car on the track or learn to race cars. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I think you can do that. So you'll have to get yourself on the track.
Yeah, I heard it was possible. So that's definitely interesting for me. Also, my friends, they just went to French Lick. I heard that was a good place to go.
French Lick is
They
an
have a
Indiana
nice golf.
staple.
Yeah, so I just heard about that. Maybe that's on my list.
Yeah.
I've been checking them off. I've been like making a list. So
Love to hear it.
yeah.
Well, I really appreciate your time, and I know our viewers do as well. If you're looking to learn more about what Center for Pain offers, and if you're looking to get scheduled with Dr. Hom or see what he offers, you can visit us at indypain.com.
Thanks for having me.